They say Queen Njinga didn't just rule, she haunted her enemies. Before battle, she drank from a cup of blood, her own and her warriors, a pact that bound them beyond death. To her people, it was loyalty. To her enemies, witchcraft. When the Portuguese envoys refused her a seat, Njinga made one out of a kneeling man. That day, they saw a woman who would rather be feared than forgotten. Stay with me. Long before her name echoed through kingdoms, Njinga was born in 1583 in the heart of Ndongo, a land shadowed by Portuguese ambition and endless war. Her father, King Kilawanji, ruled with iron will, but her birth was marked by an omen, a still cord wrapped 3 times around her neck. The priest whispered that the child would either bring ruin or rain. Growing up, she learned the ways of war before she could braid her own hair. Her brothers fought for glory, but Njinga, she fought for control. When she spoke, even the elders paused. When she watched, warriors straightened their spears. But as the drums of the colonizers grew louder, the kingdom began to fracture. The Portuguese came with guns, foreign religions, and chains, calling it civilization. Njinga saw it for what it was, conquest wrapped in falsehood, and in that rising darkness, the girl with the cursed birth became the woman who would defy empires. When her father died, the throne was not passed to her. Instead, it went to her brother, a man quick to anger and quicker to spill royal blood. Njinga was exiled, stripped of her title, but not her mind. While others prayed for mercy, she studied her enemies, their tactics, their greed, their faith. And when she returned, it wasn't as a princess, but as a storm in human form. The Portuguese thought they could break her with treaties and silver. Instead, she broke them with courageous words. At the 1622 peace negotiation in Luanda, Nzinga arrived draped in royal silk, but when the governor's men offered her no chair, she turned her male servant into one, forcing him to kneel while she sat on his back. It wasn't cruelty, it was a message. She would never bow to any empire, not even one backed by foreign gods. From that day, whispers spread across the coast. People were saying, "The woman who sits on men now sits on power." And soon the name Njinga became more than royalty. It became a warning. When words failed, Njinga turned to the language of fire and blood. She gathered warriors from the shadows of the forest, men who lost families, tribes stripped of lands, and bold women who refused to kneel. They became ghosts of the night, striking Portuguese camps when the moon turned red, vanishing before dawn like spirits in the mist. She made pacts with neighboring tribes and even forged uneasy alliances with the Dutch, anything to choke the empire that had dared to enslave her people. But her power wasn't only drawn from strategy and defiance. Njinga believed the spirits of the land fought beside her. Before battle, she burned herbs, painted her skin with ash, and spoke to the ancestors, asking them not for mercy, but for vengeance. As the years passed, Njinga's war became her worship. She no longer fought for the crown, she became it. To her people, she was no longer mortal. She was a spirit of vengeance wrapped in flesh. They say she spoke to the ancestors through fire. At night, her palace glowed with ritual flames, smoke curling into shapes no one dared describe. She called it communion. The priest called it blasphemy. Njinga mixed politics with the unseen. She turned captured soldiers into loyal followers through charms and rituals that blurred faith and fear. Some said she could summon storms and ghosts to fight her war. Others whispered that her reflection never blinked. When the missionaries tried to baptize her, she agreed. But days later, she performed an offering to the spirits of war. She didn't belong to heaven or earth. Njinga belonged to her people, for she lived and fight for them. And those who betrayed her claimed to see her shadow moving through their rooms at night long after she'd left their sight. Her reign wasn't peaceful, but liberating. Every storm must fade, every story must end. But Njinga did not go quietly into the earth. When death came for her in 1663, the skies above Ndongo turned black. Her people said the wind wailed that night, as if the spirits themselves refused to let her go. She was buried in royal silk, her crown placed upon her chest, and her warriors kept watch for 7 nights, waiting for the earth to settle. But it never did. Years later, traders swore they saw her figure standing on the ridges of Angola, a queen cloaked in mist, her eyes burning gold against the rain. To this day, elders say that when thunder rolls over the old kingdom, it's Queen Njinga walking the clouds, watching the land she once ruled with sword and wisdom. She became more than memory. She became a warning, a whisper carried through generations. Defy the oppressor, but never forget the cost. Centuries have passed, but in Angola, Queen Njinga's name is still not spoken lightly. The old ones say her spirit was too strong to rest and too vigilant to be forgotten. In the villages near her former capital, Matamba, children are told never to mock a woman who walks alone at dusk, especially if thunder rolls behind her. They say that's when Nzinga searches for those who have betrayed their ancestors' blood. Some claim her shadow appears on palace walls after heavy rain, and that the scent of iron fills the air before lightning strikes, the sign that the warrior queen is near. In Luanda, guards have reported seeing a tall woman in royal attire standing near the old Portuguese forts, silent, unmoving, vanishing when they reached out. Local traders still pour a few drops of palm wine into the soil before each deal, murmuring, "Njinga, keep me strong," not out of worship, but fear, because in Angola's storms, there's still a belief that some thrones never truly lose their queens. They say the earth remembers the footsteps of its conquerors, but Queen Njinga's echo was far too loud to fade. Her enemies thought death would silence her, but it only made her a martyr. In every tales whispered under the bright moonlight, her spirit still rides the wind, watching. Some call her a hero, others a tyrant. But in truth, she was both and yet a liberator. For even the gods themselves must tremble before a woman who made kingdoms bleed to remember her name. So the next time you hear a strange whisper in the forest of Ndongo, or a bird circling the ruins at night, that's probably Queen Njinga haunting a traitor, and she may not like being watched. Stay close, ledger keepers. Subscribe for the next dark tale.